Let's do some work on finding the slope of a line. The slope of a line is how steep it is. So whether it comes up, oh, maybe something like that, or maybe it's really, really steep and does something like that. You are, by determining the slope, you are deciding how steep that line is. So in this set of problems, we are going to determine the slope based on the fact that they've given us two ordered pairs. Now I want to use the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This works great when we've got two sets of ordered pairs, which is what these are. Sometimes they'll be referred to as coordinates, ordered pairs, and you always use them in graphing. So the first thing we're going to do, we look at this, we've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 9. The first number is always x, the second number is always y. And in this case, because we have two sets, we're going to call this one x1, y1. The second one is going to be x2, y2. Just like that. Now you can see how easy it's going to be to fill in this formula. We're going to start with y2, 9, minus y1 is 2 over x2 is 3 minus x1 is 1. Then we just do the subtraction. 9 minus 2 is 7 over 3 minus 1 is 2. That is your slope. Just like that, we have a slope. It's not that confusing as long as you know to punch in the formula. It's the way it is with formulas. As long as you know where to put the numbers, the formulas do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And also I wanted to say, this looks like a fraction, leave it alone. You don't need to turn that into a mixed fraction. You don't need to try to reduce it. What it's telling you is how steep this line is. So let's try this. We can actually graph this line. We've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 9. So let's go to x1, y2. That's going to be our first coordinate from that first ordered pair. And then 3 and 9. So we're going to go over on x line 3 and up the y line 9. And we've got the two coordinates. Then we can draw the line. This is probably the hardest part for me, is drawing these lines. All right, let's see. Actually just keeps going. Oh, I did a terrible job drawing this. All right, so that gives you an idea. It's imperfect, but it gives you the idea. And we can find the slope. We know already that the slope is 7 over 2, which means rise over run. So if you pop back up here, rise over run, which is y over x. Rise up and down, run across. So we're again looking at 7 and 2. Let's see if that works. There's a quick way you can do this. We've got a coordinate here and a coordinate here. Let's figure out how many spaces between the two coordinates. This one's at 9, this one's at 2. The difference is 7. So that's going to be 7 for the rise. The run is how many spaces across horizontally. We start here, 1, 2, 2 spaces. That tells us how steep the line is. That's our slope. Look at that. It matches. It works. Excellent. All right, let's do a couple more of these. I'm not going to graph the next two, but we'll just make sure that we figure out the slope based on coordinates. All right, Here we have 9 and -6, -7 and -8. Again, we're going to use our slope formula. Y2, and again, if it helps to label, do it, because it's not going to take you very long and it might keep things a little straighter. Any little trick you can do to help you figure this out, do it. Okay, so we've got Y2, which would be the -8, minus Y1, which would be -6, over X2, -7, minus X1, 9. And I know everybody loves negative numbers. When you have two negatives in a row, that turns into a positive. So negative is the same as making a plus sign. So we've got -8 plus 6, that's going to be -2, over -7 minus 9. In this case, with negative numbers, when you don't have a double negative, you're just basically putting these numbers together. The answer is going to be a negative. So we've got -16. And again, we don't want to change these numbers. We don't want to reduce them like we would if it were a regular fraction. This one, we don't want to turn into a mixed fraction. And this is your slope. It's -2 over -16. Now, what does it mean if it's a negative number, if it's a negative slope? This one is positive. Look what direction the line went. Any line that goes to the right is a positive line. Any line that goes to the left is a negative line, kind of like our number line. And actually, I might try graphing this one just because it's different than the first one. So we've got 9 and -6. So we're going to go out to 9 on the X line and then down to -6 on the Y, which will be right here. Then we've got -7, -8. We're going to go out -7 on X and down to -8. So this is going to be right here. Ooh, that is a steep line. It's almost flat. Let's draw that line in. Okay, and again, we're going to count the spaces in between the two coordinates. So here, we're starting at 9 for this one and -7 for this one. That's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And it's going down to the left. So I did the run first. Sorry about that. 16, I did the horizontal, that's at the bottom. And the rise is a difference up and down. And that if we start right here at -8, this one's at -6, the rise is -2. Is that what we got? Oh, look at that, it matches. -2, -16, -2, -16. Perfect. All right, let's do one more. And again, this one, I don't think I'm going to graph, although I shouldn't say that because I might decide that graphing is a good idea. And again, we're going to take the same Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. So we're going to start with 3 Y2 minus Y1 is -4 over 3 X2 minus -7 X1. And then we figured out again, double negatives, same as adding. Double negatives, same as adding. So 3 plus 4 is 7. 3 plus 7 is 10. And that's your slope.